Hey Siri, turn on all the lights in the bedroom.
Why? Why? Hey Siri, turn off all the lights in the bedroom.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Ty and this is Ty the Space. In today's video, I'll be giving you guys a little bit of a tour of some of my smart home devices. My smart home is currently hybrid HomeKit setup. This was due to the fact that when I started on my smart home, it was built based on the Amazon and Google platform. Over the past 1 to 2 years when I did get married, my wife is an Apple fan. She only uses Apple products, and one of the core principles of a smart home is everyone has to be on the same page in the household with whatever technology is being used. She wasn't willing to have to install other apps to be able to do things around the house. It kind of makes sense for me to transition and give her the ability to be able to use Apple HomeKit from our phone. And this actually gave me the opportunity to also give the Apple HomeKit a try. My smart home is built on 3 core principles: automation, low cost, and local control. Local control is very important to me because when things are local, it keeps the cost low because I don't have to pay for cloud storage. Also, things trigger a lot more faster because I don't have to depend on things going out to the cloud to get triggered and then coming back in. It's always instantaneous. Come with me and let me show you some of the ways I use my smart home and some of the devices I do use in my house. When starting a smart home, it's very important to take into consideration the backbone. The backbone comprises of your Wi-Fi, your networking, and all the hubs that are associated with it. For me, I have gone ahead and taken care of that. It is a little bit of an overkill for most people, but this was a very fun project for me and I really enjoyed it. Over here, I've taken care of a lot of different things. Starting out with my router, I do have the UDM Pro. It comes with an 8-port switch as well, which unfortunately is not a PoE. And by PoE, I mean power over Ethernet, but I do have a Cisco PoE switch for that. A PoE switch is able to provide power to PoE devices such as cameras. All of my security cameras are all PoE devices, so I'm able to power them using this switch. This switch doesn't only provide PoE power, it is also providing hardwired network connectivity to a lot of my devices. I have wired up every single area of my house with Ethernet port. For wireless, I also have the UniFi U6 long range access point. I have my network divided into 3. I mean, there are other ones, but there are 3 major ones. The first being the internal network, which is where all of my laptops and my phones connect to. Then I have a separate one for IoT devices. So everything from my cameras to my TV to speakers, essentially anything that's smart. All the smart devices, they have really terrible security, so it's very important to keep them on their own network. Think of it this way: when you open up your computer, whether you're using Windows or Mac, when you go to the network share, you're able to see all the other devices that are on that network, and sometimes you can even connect to them. That's the same way all these IoT devices will be able to talk to each other when they're all on the same network. So a breach in one means that whoever the attacker or the intruder is able to see all your other devices. And the third one is for guests. Another important component to take into consideration is my multimedia and storage needs. Now, over the top here, I have this Unraid server. Now, my Unraid server is acting as my NAS box and my multimedia server. I have the Unraid server running something called Nextcloud. Think of it, it's the equivalent of, say, Google Photos, Google Drive, iCloud Drive, any of those those public cloud services. I essentially have my own here, and all of our phones and laptops and everything syncs all of our pictures, videos, and all of that directly from our phones and end devices back onto this this NAS box. To protect all of these devices I have here, I do have a UPS and an ATS, so an auto transfer switch. My basement acts as my multimedia center, so we occasionally come down here to watch movies. Over there I have the Smart Shade. The Smart Shade is actually HomeKit compatible, so it connects directly into the HomeKit app. It also has a physical remote, so every day in the morning that shade opens up when the sun rises, and at sunset it closes down as well. For multimedia, I do have a couple of devices as well. I have the BenQ HT3550 projector. Now this projector comes with Android TV, but I don't use the Android TV because I have the Amazon Fire Stick 4K with the Wi-Fi 6 chipset on it. So this essentially takes advantage of my Wi-Fi 6 wireless networking in my house. I also have a 5.1 Samsung surround sound system. If you look down here, I do have a lot of recessed lights. The recessed lights are not smart, they're just basic recess lights. However, I have them all plugged into a smart switch. This smart switch is from TreatLife and it is a Wi-Fi smart switch. Now this switch is actually a capacitive touch, so essentially I can use my hand to rub against it to increase the brightness or decrease the brightness. And right next to this switch I do have a HomeKit compatible switch from Mirror. All of these lights are all connected to a motion sensor. So I have a Samsung SmartThings motion sensor as well as temperature sensor in there. I do have the Logitech Harmony app and I've programmed an activity button on it. All you need to do is just push the button and then if the shades are open, it will close the shades, turn off the light and disable motion sensor. Then it will turn on the projector and my sound system and set it all to the right input as well. Then I can now use that Logitech Harmony remote to control the screen. In my kitchen, I also have a bunch of smart technologies in here. Starting with over here, you can see I have this light strip over here. Now this is the Nanoleaf LED strip that I have mounted under the cabinet. Now this Nanoleaf strips are all HomeKit compatible. And one of the big things I like about it is the fact that it actually comes with adaptive lighting. So at night time like this, it changes to warm yellow, and during the daytime it changes to daylight white. Over here I do have it's a faucet. It's just a pure motion sensor. I wouldn't get the Wi-Fi ones because I don't really see the need for a Wi-Fi faucet, but the motion sensor one is actually very useful. It keeps when your hands are dirty, you don't need to actually touch the fixture itself. Keeps my fixture looking much more cleaner more of the time. I do have like a overhead spotlight. Now the spotlight itself, it's not smart bulbs, it's just regular daylight bulb, but again it is attached to a smart switch. Now this smart switch is actually from TP-Link. The TP-Link is actually one of my most reliable smart switch. Every smart device you have to find ways to automate it, so I did install a motion sensor here as well. So whenever we come into the kitchen, the light will come on automatically. So essentially everywhere in this house we never touch any smart switch. Everything is all automated when it comes to lighting. It all comes on automatically and goes off automatically, and I've made sure to set them to tweak them such that they fit our everyday use. At about 11 o'clock in the night, the motion sensor in this kitchen will get disabled, so the overhead lights will stop coming on until 7 a.m. in the morning, because I find out that for us, when I want to come into the kitchen at night to drink water, I don't like the super bright light in my eyes. I want something that is very subtle. My LED strips here would kind of dim at 11 o'clock and drop to about 50% brightness, and then at 7 o'clock everything is like super bright, so you have that energetic and positive feeling in the morning, and that kind of maintains throughout the day until 7 o'clock, when this changes to yellow again to start to prepare it for the night. This is my dining room. I don't have much of technology in here because this is a space I don't get to use a lot, so I don't have any automation running in here. However, I do have some smart devices here. I have some smart bulbs in this chandelier. It's a smart bulb from Tekin and it's a color changing smart bulb, and it is also connected to a Wi-Fi smart switch as well. Moving on over to my door, the door leads to my deck, and I do have a couple of smart technologies on this door, starting out with the smart shades. Now it essentially is the same smart shade as I do have in the basement. In the morning at sunrise, the shades also opens up as well with all the other blinds in the house, and then in the evening time it starts to gradually close down. Now moving on to the lock, I do have this Schlage smart door lock. Now this is the Z-Wave version. You can get this in the Wi-Fi edition as well. It has a key, so you can have the traditional key in there, and it also has a keypad in there. Another technology I do have here is it's a contact sensor. Now that's the Samsung SmartThings multi-purpose contact sensor. That's a mouthful, but it does come with a whole lot of other sensors inside of it. It comes with an accelerometer, it comes with a temperature sensor, so you can use this for things like your garage door, because it can tell you the angle at which the door is currently open on the X, Y, or Z axis. Another sensor that this thing does have is a vibration sensor, which is one of the key reasons why I went with this contact sensor on this door, because it is the back door. There's no doorbell, but I do occasionally have people coming from the back door because my driveway is at the back of the house. When somebody knocks the door, I can get alerted.
Someone is at the back door.
And the fact that it's a contact sensor also means that I can set up automation routine. When the door is closed, the lock would automatically lock, because this is a pathway. So at night it gets dark. I don't usually turn on all of my lights at night, so when the door opens up, it will automatically turn on the backyard light, and then it would only turn off when the door has been closed for more than 5 minutes. Outside of this door is my deck. I mean, this the only other smart tech I have there is a camera. I have a Bosch camera. Now the Bosch camera is actually almost a 10-year-old camera. It is terrible quality but very reliable. Even though they don't make it anymore, it is local and it stores all of the footages locally to my NAS box. Outside there, I have another automation that runs with my garbage. I did put an NFC tag on my garbage bin. On my garbage day,
It is recycle pickup day. Take out the blue bin.
all of the LED strips across the house, so the ones in my kitchen, the ones in my office, the ones in my bedroom, will all change red until I go out there to take out the trash and then scan that QR code.
Thanks for taking out the trash bin. Changing lead back to warm.
Over here is my robot vacuum. It has the auto emptying bin as well as the mopping functionality. For multimedia and entertainment, I have the Sony OLED 4K TV. This is the 2015 model and it does come with Android TV. For audio here, I do have the Bose sound system. Now this sound system is not smart. It's super old system, but the sound quality is impressive. I do have an Harmony Hub as well here that when I trigger the activity, it turns on the TV and the sound system, and it closed the shades if it's open during the daytime, because I have reflection issues on this floor during the daytime. It reflects against the TV and I can't watch anything on the TV. Then I can use that one remote to control both the audio and the TV itself. Moving on to the front door of my house, I do have same thing, the Schlage Z-Wave smart door lock, as well as the contact sensor. However, this contact sensor is a WiSense contact sensor. They don't make this anymore. However, it's still working in my home. Everything works locally and I'm still able to use this contact sensor. And one of the benefits of this is that it triggers super fast because it's a local control. At night time like this, when I open up the door, you see that it turns on the light, and then when I close it, and then after 5 minutes after locking the door, then the light will also go off. Now this is also connected to a smart switch. Moving on to the front of the house, I do have the Nest Hello doorbell. Now this is my least favorite smart technology right now in my home, mainly because of the fact that it is cloud connected, requires subscription to be able to use any of the sensible features on it. Even as a doorbell, it fails miserably because whenever the doorbell gets pushed, by the time I open up the app, the person is already gone. Because I don't have a subscription, I'm unable to view the history or what has happened. There are some features about the Nest Hello doorbell that I do like. I mean, I can't complain about the fact that this actually integrates into my existing Google Home speakers, and I'm able to view it as well on my kitchen display. I can also view the feed on, some of my other TVs as well. I do have a 360-degree axis PoE camera, so it covers the side, my front door, as well as the yard in front of the house. Moving on to our shower. In here, we have a couple of smart devices in here. I have a smart switch as well as a motion sensor. Now the motion sensor is also a WiSense motion sensor. Wise doesn't make them anymore, and I don't have it connected to any of their servers or cloud services. It all runs locally on my own server. Once you open up the door, the light will come on, and then it will stay on as long as there's motion in there. And then when you leave after 10 to 15 minutes, then the light will actually go off. Over here, I do have the Google Home speaker. Now this is the original version of the Google Home. I have it here as part of my morning routine to be able to listen to music. I have automated this functionality. I do have an NFC tag on here on one of my shelves, so I just put it on the NFC tag. It would actually play my morning playlist on my Google Home speaker using AirPlay. The office pretty much has a couple of smart technology as well in here. I do have a motion sensor, a smart dimmer switch, as well as recessed light. The difference is the recess light in the office are actually smart recess lights, so they all connect to the Wi-Fi and they can change colors as well. Behind my desk, I do have a Philips Hue light strip. Everything here shuts down when I leave this space. So if there's no motion in here for more than 10 to 15 minutes, then everything here will shut down as well. But when motion is triggered, then everything will come back on again. Over here, I have my selection of speakers. I have a Sonos speaker, I have the Amazon Echo Dot, it's the original Echo Dot, as well as the original Google Home speakers. Like I said, I like to use things and keep them as long as possible. All of the speakers, I'm able to play music to them from my iPhone, from my laptop, and I'm able to do multi-audio with them as well. So I can pair this up with all the other speakers in the house and play music across the entire house from my iPhone using AirPlay. I use that using something called AirPlay add-on. It's an add-on I have running on my Home Assistant. It basically is an add-on that bridges any Chromecast devices, so it converts Chromecast to AirPlay. I have speakers across my house that I use for announcements. So like things like my garbage day to make the announcement. I also use it for announcements like tell me if the door opens up and which door is open, or if the garage is open, or if somebody's home. All right, moving on to my garage. In my garage, I also have some smart technologies in here. Over there, I have a smart TV. It's an LG 43-inch TV. So all I have it doing here right in my garage is to actually play music, watch videos sometimes when I'm in the garage, or actually displaying my photo album. Another functionality I use for this is whenever the doorbell is pushed, the feed from the camera up front would actually display on the screen as well. I do also have a smart garage door opener. It is the MyQ Shimberlin garage door opener, and I have some automation features as well set up in there. So when my garage door is opened up for more than 5 minutes, the garage door will close. It would only do that if the light is turned off and there is no music playing in this garage, because in the summertime I usually have my Sonos speaker in here as well. So if I'm walking in here, I don't want the garage door to close when I'm actually doing some work here. So obviously if there's music playing in here or the lights are still on, then it means that somebody is still here. So don't close the garage door. I also have a motion sensor in here with the temperature sensor as well, but I use the motion sensor to actually activate the light in here. I do have 2 cameras in this garage. I have one from the Reolink 4K camera, as well as the Axis 1080p camera. I'm actually testing out the Reolink 4K camera to see if I can integrate it into HomeKit as well, because I'm hoping to be able to replace all of those my old cameras with the Reolink camera. And moving on to my bedroom, I do have a couple of smart devices in here as well, starting out with the shades, just like everywhere else. One really cool feature about this shade, as well as all the other shade, is that it is solar powered, so I don't have to worry about replacing batteries or plugging it into electricity. I love natural light, but Dara doesn't like the light coming in, especially when she's in the room. So I do have very specific automation routines running particularly to this shade. Unlike all the other shades in the house that open up in the morning at sunrise, this one only opens up if Dara isn't home and I am home. But if she's home, even though I'm home or not, this shade doesn't open up. I also installed recessed lights all over this room as well, replaced the bulb light and installed recessed light in here. Again, these are not smart recessed lights, these are just regular daylight recessed light. However, I have them hooked up to a smart switch. Now this is the Meross dimmer switch as well, and it is HomeKit compatible, just like the one in the basement. I don't have any automation running with this particular light. However, I have divided the lighting in this room into 2 different zones. So there's the 2 at the back for, I call them the reading light, and then the other 3 at the front are the overhead light. The 2 reading lights are controlled by a separate dimmer switch. It's also the Meross smart dimmer switch as well. We do have table lamps as well. Now these table lamps have the Philips Hue smart bulbs in them. Remember the Philips bridge, or the Philips Hue bridge I had in the network closet. Now they control the 2 Philips Hue bulbs in there. These are also the color changing bulbs as well, but I only use the 2 colors in there, which is the daylight white and the warm yellow. So At night time like this, it stays the warm yellow, and during the daytime, if I ever turn it on, because I never have it on in the daytime anyways, but if it does come on, it comes on as daylight white, but it always stay warm yellow for the most part, except for my garbage day as well. It would turn red. Another thing we have in the room is we have a TV right now. This is a Samsung 55-inch 2015 TV as well. Nothing too crazy about the TV, just I don't have any Fire Stick connected to this. The Tizen OS is more reliable than the Android TV in my experience, so I'm able to use the basic apps on this TV without needing to add a Fire Stick to it. I do have a sound bar, which is the Sony sound bar as well, attached to the TV. So this actually comes on using CRC. So whenever the TV comes on, it would automatically turn on the sound bar as well, and then when it turns off, the sound bar also turns on as well. So I didn't need to do any automation in. Over here as well, I can access my Plex multimedia server, so I can watch all of my TV shows, my movies, access my music, all from my TV up here as well, which is streaming straight out from my multimedia server down in my network room. One other thing that I have set up in this room is I have NFC tag that's right next to Dara's bed. So it's on our bedside table, basically triggers in a bedtime routine in the bedroom. If she swipes her phone in there, it will turn off all the lights in the room and turn off the TV, basically shuts down everything inside of the room, and it means it's bedtime.
Studio mode activated.
So that pretty much brings me to the grand finale of my smart home tour. Now, these are just some of the ways I've been able to make my home smart, and just some of the devices I use. If I were to cover everything, I'm going to need more than 25 minutes to cover everything. But hey, if you want to see more of how I did set up a lot of these things, or you like to see a review of some of the products, feel free to leave comments down in the comment section. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Activate Studio off.